A warm welcome to your Barbados Today update for Monday, October 4. As COVID-19 numbers continue to steadily rise, Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic has warned the island's isolation facilities are under pressure. Addressing the nation last evening, Bostic explained that in response to the situation, government has begun its rollout of the home isolation and quarantine program.
Our challenge and space becomes a problem, then we have to look at alternative means to be able to respond. And that is what we've been doing. And we've alerted you before that we were considering, and seriously so, the implementation of home quarantine and home isolation. And I can say to you that that is in progress as we speak. There are a number of persons who would have tested positive, and we are processing those persons to see who would qualify for home isolation and those that would have to be institutionalized. And so the triage process has commenced. We've been able to assess about 591 persons out of a total of 680. And out of those 591 persons, 22 persons were referred to Harrison Point, with another 12 in the process of being sent to Harrison Point.
Barbados recorded 218 new cases and 1 death on Saturday. A 52-year-old woman died from the viral illness. She had comorbidities and was unvaccinated. The new cases comprise 51 persons under the age of 18 and 167 who are 18 years and older. There are currently 1,021 persons in isolation. Since the start of the pandemic, Barbados has recorded 9,010 confirmed cases of the viral illness. Meanwhile, 39.5% of the population is fully vaccinated. Despite the worsening COVID-19 situation in Barbados, Prime Minister Mottley reiterated government's position that it will not be mandating the COVID-19 vaccine. She told last evening's COVID-19 update from Alara Court she won't undermine Barbados' social capital.
Now, even though there's a surge, we have the benefit of that, and it is that can help us stave off the level of deaths even as we fight through it, but it is also that will help stave off the level of serious hospitalization, and it is that will allow us to ensure that we do not cause more unemployment by locking down and more people to suffer by locking down. So my friends, we in this together. There's no other way to put it. And it is up to all of us to do the right thing as Barbadians, and I have every confidence that we will do it. And if we have to come week by week and talk with you, we're going to do so, because that is the preferred route to mandating and forcing, because we do not want to lose the essence of who we are. Because when all is said and done, this country is 166 square miles, and all that we have is one another.
United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres has praised Barbados' vaccination efforts, even as he raised concern that the world's larger countries are still hoarding vaccines, hindering the vaccination program worldwide. He made the comments after touring several areas in St. John with Prime Minister Mottley last evening.
I want to express my solidarity with the government of Barbados that has managed to vaccinate a meaningful part of the population, even if the hoarding of vaccines has made it very difficult for countries like Barbados to have access to vaccines. But inequality also in relation to climate change. There is one thing in which I do not agree with your Prime Minister. The most important intervention in the General Assembly was not mine, it was hers. She made a fantastic intervention in which not only she referred the substance of the problems that we are facing with a climate change that is becoming an existential threat for people and the planet, but she also made it with a passion and with a strength that really made everybody in the room be moved, and I think has made the consciences of many that are not doing enough understand that they need to change.
In other news this Monday, Barbados will today make history as the smallest ever nation to host the UNCTAD Forum. Leading a tour of officials to view the impact of recent weather systems on Barbados, Mottley said the conversation about climate change must be tackled at a global level.
I want to also say to you that we were then able to visit some of our coastal protection work on the West Coast. As you know, the big issue of the time is the climate crisis as we get ready to go to Glasgow, and it is important for us to show why what we are doing and why we are having to spend money on coastal protection at the very time that we also still need to be spending money on education and healthcare and all of the other things to make our society whole and to get us to the sustainable development goals. But because of the crisis, the climate crisis in particular, we have to divert our spending to be able to protect our people. It's ironic that we're meeting here at Hodgson College. Some of the persons who lost their housing in Hurricane Elsa, our first hurricane in 66 years, are in fact staying here, and I want to thank Reverend Dr. Clark for being so kind and expressing, not only talking the talk, but walking the walk, and allowing us to be able to house some of the persons who lost their housing due to the last hurricane while we rebuild the houses.
Governor General Dame Sandra Mason was recognized for her outstanding contribution to the public service on the weekend. She was conferred with an honorary Doctor of Law degree by the University of the West Indies. During a special convocation ceremony, the Governor General paid tribute to her family and colleagues and said how deeply honored and proud she was to be a product of the University of the West Indies.
I feel bound to express how deeply honored I am at the bestowal of this degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa by my alma mater, the University of the West Indies. As I accept this honor this evening, I do so with humility and with the unerring recognition that I represent not only myself, but the class of 1970 of the Faculty of Law of the University of the West Indies, with whom I began that pioneering journey some 50 years ago. Since 1948, when it was established as the University College of the West Indies to bring light, liberty, and learning to our region, this university has always remained cognizant that it had to justify the dreams of our forefathers, that we, the sons and daughters of our cruel history, take a bold step into the world of academia.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
On the international front, North Korea says the United Nations Secretary Council applied double standards over military activities among UN member states as international criticism mounts in response to its recent missile tests. More in this report from Reuters TV.
It comes amid international criticism over its recent missile tests. The Council met behind closed doors on Friday upon requests from the United States and other countries over the North's missile launches. The meeting came a day after Pyongyang fired a newly developed anti-aircraft missile, the latest in a series of weapons tests. They include the launches of a previously unseen hypersonic missile, ballistic missiles, and a cruise missile with potential nuclear capabilities. The North Korean Foreign Ministry's Department of International Organizations said the Security Council meeting means an encroachment on its sovereignty. It accused the Council of double standards as it remains silent about US joint military exercises and weapons tests with allies. North Korea warned the Council could face consequences if it continues to breach the North's sovereignty, quote, with the double dealing stick.
That's news, but for the very latest, you can visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.